Welcome to the Sonic Shaman Show, home of the Coffee Connect and Conscious Connections. The show is dedicated to empowering you to perceive, know, be, and express your unique voice in this world without the fear of judgment of others through healing, coaching, and educational services. In each episode, Hank and his guests offer tools, techniques, and inspiration to help you step into your potency. Now, here is your host, Hank Setala.
Good morning, everyone. I am here with Heather MacMillian, and today is like the first time we're streaming after what's called Global Foundation. And I'll let Heather kind of introduce herself and just talk a little bit. We want to share the energy that occurred with this class because it was just so amazing. But why don't you introduce yourself and then jump into what is exactly Global Foundation?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so grateful to be here. And, you know, we were just discussing before we went live about what a beautiful day it is today. And that's really what is just a whole new space after this weekend of gratitude. And, you know, what would life be like if we just woke up every morning with a sense of gratitude for being alive and for these amazing bodies that we have?
Absolutely. And to give a little bit more context too, like Heather is a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. And one of the foundational classes in Access is called Foundation. And one of the reasons I think that, well, let me put it this way. There's some classes, like if you take some things of Reiki, the manual that I took with Reiki 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I'm older than I think I am, is the same manual today. But with Foundation, every single year, or sometimes faster than that, they're always changing the manual based on what's happening in the world. And that's what Global is the rewrite of the manual based on the energies today. And that's why it's so spacious coming out of it, because it's really dealing with all the what word do I want to use? All the stuff from the last year that we're experiencing as a planet. Yes. All that's taken into account, and then as they're going through the book, they're rewriting it and coming up with the new processes and all kinds of different things to address what's happening today, not what was happening 10 years ago, because even tomorrow we're already all different people, all different species, even one day later. So like, how do we keep up with that? And that's one thing that Access is really good at, between this and monthly reports from practitioners and facilitators. Like, they see what's happening in the world. And even like a month after a Foundation class like this, they might change everything because of something else popping up. So I think that's one reason it's so spreading so much in the world, is because it's really in the energy of what's needed.
Yeah, I mean, Access is this incredible movement around the world. It's in, over 176 countries. And this class that we both attended, Hank attended in Cleveland at a Party of Possibilities. I was in Maryland, and then there were hundreds of people in Mexico attending, thousands online. And the energy of that many people choosing a really dynamic change was palpable. I mean, the sense of celebration going on every time we got to some new thing in class was really, really cool. I mean, around the world.
Yeah, I think they had 3,000 people online. Or there was at least, I don't know if it was 3,000 people just online or just 3,000 people total, but that's, I think, the largest Foundation class that they've ever had.
Yeah, and I mean, what's so cool about it is, like, exactly like you said, no two Access Consciousness classes are ever the same. I mean, we have a manual, and they're always facilitated in the moment from the energy of the people who show up and the questions that they ask, and, really what's required in the moment. And nowhere is that more dynamic than with the Global Foundation, where the co-creators of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas and Dr. Dain Heer, rewrite the Foundation class that facilitators like myself facilitate around the world every day, so that we have a new foundation to create this class from with the people that come to our classes.
Yeah, pun intended. I'm curious, was there anything in particular that really stood out that they changed, or that they anything in particular, like your biggest takeaway from the from Foundation that would also be something that could be applicable for people to know about, that even if they aren't going to be in Access, something that people can walk away with and be able to take forward into their daily lives?
Yeah, I mean, one of the conversations that was really different, and all of it really, I mean, the mantra of Access Consciousness, for those of you who haven't, heard it before, is all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. And what if you said that 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening? What different things could show up in your life? And so really all of this foundation was about inviting more and more of life to come to us with ease and joy and glory. Because a lot of what's limiting us or limiting what is possible with our bodies is these kind of insane points of view that we have that are really energetic. They may come from, when we were really small in this lifetime, or when we might have gotten them from other people or from other lifetimes. So we use this thing called the clearing statement. And when we ask a question, it brings up energies that you can use the clearing statement to clear. And you can find out more about the clearing statement at theclearingstatement.com. There's a really cool video there. You can hear about all of it.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to say about this mantra as well, Dr. Dain, yesterday, they were giving an example that it's not saying that only fluff and buff comes to your life. He's like, no, it's the good, the bad, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. All whatever shows up, it comes to you with ease and joy. Yeah, Gloria. I say that as readers. Like sometimes you have someone that comes for a reading and they don't want to hear about any bad stuff. They just want to be fluff and buff. They just want to hear how great their life is, which is great. But they gave the example of, like, they had a flood at their house in Houston, and even though it was a flood and it was a quote unquote negative experience, it came to them with ease and joy and glory. They weren't even home. By the time they got home, one person in the house moved all their furniture to the second floor. They only lost 4 things. And then the kicker is they had been wanting to redo the whole first floor anyhow, and now insurance paid for it. So even though some ugly stuff showed up, it came to them with ease and joy and glory. And that, what if, like, from a car accident to winning the lottery, to getting married, to whatever's showing up in your world, what if it could come with ease, joy, and glory? Because it's really the grace and how you work with the energies versus, what the difference is that it's life happening through you instead of to you. If life can happen to you with ease and joy and glory, even if it's things that we really would have preferred not to show up, it can still come with a sense of grace.
Yeah, I mean, as you were telling that story, that example from Gary and Dain, it was like, wow, how has the universe been looking to contribute to us and support us that we've been refusing, or that we haven't been willing to receive those whispers of, hey, this is here that would contribute more ease, joy, and glory to you.
Yeah, and I shared this with you also, like, I think during the class, I had this awareness that some people have a resistance to access. And the reason might be is because we value so much our opinions, our considerations, our judgments, or our justifications. And like, we put so much weight on this. Like, think about people who, they might have a sickness and they empower their sickness because of the sickness is why they do everything. And how much more power does that give to the sickness? So like, what do we make so big in our world and so important in our world that we're not willing to have a shift of change, a possibility, and let it go? And I think that's one big thing, like not just access, but anything on a true healing path where you start doing inner work and getting to the original wounds and these things. That is a huge resistance when people are empowering what's actually wrong with them, quote unquote, in air quotes, wrong with them.
Well, people often ask me, what is consciousness to access? And it's really how they began the foundation class, was talking about how it includes everything and judges nothing. And that includes positive judgments too, of like,
Yep.
This is so right. This is so perfect. This is, I've got this, this is all good in my life. Those are these areas where we do limit what else is possible. And that's another tool to play with Access Consciousness, is this really dynamic question of what else is possible? What else is possible? There it is. Awesome.
I have it all lined up ready.
Hank is so psychic. He's like, she's going to say this. What else is possible that you haven't ever considered?
Indeed. What else is possible? That's such a wonderful question. Well, and I just want to speak to too that what you had just said, that the good judgments stick you worse more because you don't look to change things. If something's working for you, you might not ask for more change from the universe. And if we're suffering or if we're in pain, then we'll all absolutely say, yo, something has to change. But if something's working, or the energy that Ryan would label it as is it's good enough. And like it's just this plateau that you never look to get higher. And what if everything is good? What, and you know, in the space of it's an infinite universe and you're an infinite being, if you just won the lottery, you got the house of your dreams and you have the wife of your dreams and all that, why not ask the universe, how does it get any better than this? What other ways could ease, joy, and glory show up in my world? And opening up the door for something else to show up that's even greater than what you could have imagined.
Yeah, and that's that question that Hank just put in there. That was like a little sprinkling of access. Was how does it get any better than this? You know, when something really fun shows up in your life, how does it get any better than this? When something that's, you know, a little sticky or, you know, difficult shows up, okay, well, how does it get any better than this? That's really getting out of that place that Hank was just talking about of, you know, I'm good, I've got this handled. Well, how does it get any better than this? That's inviting the play, the co-creation with the universe.
Absolutely. Walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe is what I like to, and every morning, like even this morning, I wake up and I ask, well, how could I have more of me today? How could I experience more magic in the world today than any day before? And it just creates this upward spiral of possibility, I like to say. And for anybody out there that, because access, there's so many, I believe like Magic Mike, he's one of our mutual friends. I jokingly say all the time, Magic Mike has had more access than any of us and he's never taken a class. or actually he's just taken bars. He has actually signed up for foundation. He's been doing access for years because all the certified facilitators like Heather, so many others, they're all doing content like this. So a lot of the tools and access are just out there. There's all kinds of books, and so like if you want to dip your toes in and aren't ready for like a class, my favorite book is Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dain Heer, which is a great segue to talk about something I can't believe we didn't talk about yet.
Yeah.
Dr. Dain has founded the International Being You Day. And I'm actually going to be throwing my hat in the ring, and I'm looking to do some media stuff around that too. But that is like such an amazing thing, because no matter what avenue in life you're looking at, it really all is this path to being more of you. Whether you're in access or something else, what is really the goal? It's to have more of you today than any day before. And his book, Being You, Changing the World, is hands down the favorite access book favorite book in general, not just access book. I've gone through it over 20 times. That's how potent it is.
I was just going to ask you, how many times have you read
it? I stopped counting, but I know it was at least 20. And I swear every time I go through it, it's a new book. There's something I read or listen to if it's on Audible, and I'm like, was that always in there? I swear that's different. I've never heard that before. And it's almost like it is like one change of point of view changes your entire reality. And you might even be aware of that perceptually. Jason and I, during Global, we had gone to lunch and we're on our way back to the center. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I've never been on this road before. This doesn't look familiar at all. And of course, it's a road I've been on hundreds of times, you know. And I said it out loud. I'm like, doesn't the road look weird to you? And he's like, yeah, it's different. It's never looked like this before. And I'm like, I'm so glad I said it out loud, because I feel like I'm literally in a different reality. And then coming home from my parents just Tuesday, I got lost. Like I'm going on the same roads I always go to, and my house is somewhere different now. I don't understand. It's almost like I'm in a different reality just from these shifts that have happened. I'm sure I am. It's in a much better reality too. In air quotes.
Lighter and more fun. Well, and you mentioned the audio version of Dr. Dain's book, and for those of you who didn't catch that, or if you're just tuning in now, it's called Being You, Changing the World. And you can actually I mean, if you are not ready to dive all the way in, you can actually download the first chapter that he narrates for free. And so if you'd like to get a taste of the energy of the book and what can be created with that, some of the possibilities of it, you can find that really easily and check it out, just have it playing in the background somewhere.
Yeah, and I forget the website now. When we do our next stream, we'll probably talk about Just Being You Changing the World, because there's all this energy
cool.
coming up on the May 21st is the day. And if you go to nationalcalendar.com, like there's a website that has all the days. And if you go to International Days for May, you'll find the International Being You Day. And when you click that, there's all this information about how they say to spend the day. So our next stream, we'll kind of go through that, because there's so much energy around it, and it happened to be my favorite book anyway. So it's like, but they even give tools like on that website, like what you can do to celebrate the day and to have more of you and what questions to ask. So, it's not like he just had them create the day and he's like, okay, people go be you. Like he really created something around it to advocate change for everyone. And it's going to be so much fun. So I'm going to get the link for the book real quick though.
Oh, I just sent it to you. Yeah, I mean, what did you get out of reading that book? Like, what changed for you when you read that the first time? Was that before Foundation or after?
It was after my first Foundation. I forget, why I started getting into the books is I had all these Audible credits that we weren't using. And I was like, oh, well, let me just get some Access books. And I just got that one and started going through it, and everything just shifted. Like, it brings up things that you never considered, and it really dances on all the different things. But I think one of the biggest things was he gives this example about relationships. And there's another book in Access that parallels what I'm about to say that takes a deeper dive called Divorceless Relationships. But in this book, he gives the example like, oh, you have this person and, you're in that stage where you're just like wanting to be in each other's space and, kind of getting together. And it's like, well, you're going to get into this car that you call a relationship. But in order for both of you to fit, I have to cut off my arm and you have to cut off your leg. And you're like, he's being, facetious with the example a little bit, but what his point is that we give up parts of us to fit into a limitation, a box of relationship with somebody else that is sacrificing who we are. And the idea that, a real creationship would be, how can we empower one another to have more of us every day? And so that's just and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships either, that in every relationship, every creationship that I'm in, I really look at it as, what could I be in creationship to this other person or to this event or to this nature space or whatever it is, to create more possibility for all. And in that space, it's always coming from the kingdom of we. He talks about that in the book quite a bit, instead of the kingdom of me. And it's just a change of perspective. Like every single page has something that could change your life. Like, no joke. And there's a lot of pages in the book. but that was a big thing for me, because it was just like a whole new way of looking at the kingdom of we, the idea that we're all one, but at the same time, we're all separate, and like being in that space of how to really create with that. And I got the link now. I was talking with my hands, so I couldn't type and talk at the same time.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Yeah. And I love the book Divorceless Relationships too. That really, it just opened my eyes to like, wow, oh my gosh. And it's an area where a lot of us seekers create a lot of limitation for ourselves. So truly, what else is possible to have and be all of us, no matter who we're with or what we're doing.
Yeah, and we just have another minute or so, because I got to wake up my son Max. So
I know you've got.
No, but this is great. I love these little streams and things, and just talk about the book created so much space. Like we'll have to have like a stream dedicated for each book. Like just go out and talk about a little book review. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. I thought about doing that anyway, and it would be a lot more fun with someone else. So we can do that together if you like.
I would love to. Yeah. Especially the topic of relationship. Hot topic.
Oh, yes. And, I resisted getting that book probably at first because of the word divorceless. And I'm like, what will my wife think? Like, I was in a TV boot camp, and there was somebody I really wanted to connect with. And I warned my wife first. I'm like, hey, I'm friending this person, and they're like a divorce coach, like before you get divorced. But I'm just we're friends. That's it. No, don't think. But I had all this point of view, judgment, and conclusion. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. And good morning, Carol. Carol's on with us
Good
now.
morning.
Yeah, she's going to be joining us in about a week or so for Foundation. It is a week now. No, a week. A week from today. Yeah, a week from today is your bars class, and then jumping into Foundation, and which is good because I would have totally forgotten to mention that for anybody interested in taking classes with Heather. Thank you, Carol. Like you totally brought me back to this reality. But if you go to emergenceofbeing.com/possibility, it has a list of all of the classes coming up with Heather, including the bars class next Thursday, Foundation on Friday, and then we're jumping into a How to Become Money workbook series, 10-call series, and advanced series, another 10-call series. So there is all kinds of awesome possibility.
Yay! How much fun can we have?
And giving you the last word, anything you like to end with before we have to go? Before we choose to go, so I can go wake up my kids for school. Oh, good morning, Tina.
What would it take to have? Good morning. What would it take to have more fun today than we've ever had so far?
That is the mantra of the day. Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We will probably be on more frequently around the 7:00 mark. So if you do want to catch us live, because I see people just tuning in now, like, haha, we came on before you woke up. but if you'd like to catch us live, we'll be on at 7. And of course, you can always catch the replays. And we'll be some other times too, but primarily like before the kids wake up is like a sweet spot to make sure we can do this consistently. But thank you, everyone. And we will catch you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today for the show. The Sonic Shaman is part of the Emergence of Being Contributor Network. Visit emergenceofbeing.com to learn about all the contributors and learn about our services and upcoming events. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. You can contribute to the show by supporting our efforts and sharing our content with those you care about and those who need it most.